I do this at 7 because I want to meet you guys early so we can get the day started and so that I can get my day started. But I could not wake up this morning. So that's going to be the truth. That's the truth for today. All right. Welcome, everybody that's here. Welcome to everybody that's here. I want to give a special shout out to everyone whose heart is absolutely broken. If you're in this live, then your heart is absolutely broken. It could be from a death recent. It could be from a death long ago. It could be from a breakup of a romantic relationship. It could be because you just don't feel happy. You just don't feel like you're getting things figured out. Your life is just not as happy or fulfilling as you want it to be. But here's the truth, my love. I don't know why you're here. And more importantly, I don't know how you feel. I don't know how your heart feels, just as you don't know how my heart feels. Grievers think that they all understand how everybody feels because they're grieving. And I want to say this. One of the most disrespectful things we can say on a grief healing journey to any griever, whether they've just had their loss or they're sharing a loss from a long time ago, is to tell them that we understand what they're feeling. Because we don't. We don't know how you feel. We know what grief feels like. We know what our grief feels like. I know what my grief feels like. I know what it feels like to have a broken heart. I know what it feels like to long for your dad who's no longer here. I know what it feels like to long for your nephews, to see your sister crying day in and day out. I know what it likes to be with your brothers and sisters as they are grieving. But I don't know what it feels like to have lost a child. My heart hasn't experienced that. I do not know what it feels like to lose your husband. At this point in my life, my heart hasn't experienced that. And I would never, ever, ever, as long as I live, try to compare my grief to your grief. I would never do that. Why? Because it doesn't make sense for me to do that. I'm not going to come in here and tell you that I know exactly how you feel because I don't. I know what my grief feels like. I know what a broken heart feels like. I know what a breakup of a romantic relationship feels like. To me, hear me out. I know what it feels like to me because I still don't know what it feels like to you. You and I could have the exact same situation. You and I could both have lost a nephew. You and I, yes, you can ask me the question. You and I could have both lost a nephew that was 10 years old that drowned. You and I could both have lost a nephew that was 10 years old that drowned at the lake. You and I can both have lost a nephew that drowned at the lake at 10 years old named Austin. And I still would have no idea what you are feeling. I still would have no idea what you are feeling. Why? Because my relationship was my relationship with Austin. And your relationship was your relationship with Austin. I wasn't Austin's only aunt. He only had one mother. He only had one father. He had two brothers. And each one of us will experience that relationship differently. My sisters were his aunts. Lewis has a sister. And still, I don't know what any of them felt the day that Austin drowned. So for us to go up and tell a griever that we know exactly how they feel, for us to go up and tell a griever that I know exactly how you feel, it is one of the most disrespectful things you can say. And it's off-putting, you guys. It is off-putting. Why is it off-putting? because grievers don't want you to tell them how they're feeling. They don't want you to come onto their grief and tell them that you understand how they feel and then start telling them how to grieve. They don't want that. They want you to come onto their grief healing journey and say, I see you. I'm a griever. I'm sad. I don't know how you're feeling, but I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to be here for you every step of the way. Angelica said, good morning, beautiful girl. When I tell you I'm tired, Tony has a cold and he is coughing. Ugh. I'm absolutely nothing. Says you're stronger than steel. Strength doesn't get you through this, my love. Strength hinders you. Strength hinders you, my love, because what happens is we try to hold on to the strength. We try to hold on to the strength. And thank you for saying that, because the fact that I got up at 7 o'clock this morning and I was 4 minutes late and I got in here is a miracle. Every single day you wake up with a familiar ache in your chest. That's the ache that I'm telling you I have no idea about. Every single day you wake up with a familiar ache in your chest. You tell yourself, well, I survived another day. You tell yourself, well, at least I survived another day. But surviving is not healing. Surviving is surviving. You're doing all the things. You're doing all the things. You're eating. You're drinking. And I mean wine. You're sleeping. And you might even cry a little. You avoid. You're doing all the things. You, my friend, are doing all the things to stay away from grief. It's the only way you know how to survive. It's the only way you know how to get by. Uh-oh. This is not going to work. I grabbed this pad the other day because I thought I could use it, and I've used it up. I write on so many pads. Oh, dang. Let's see if we have another one in here. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to be right back. You're doing all the things to survive. You're doing all of the things that you think you need to do to survive. Some of us have become so good at it that people don't even recognize our grief anymore. We've become so great at it, they don't even know we're grieving. I'm using all the pads, so I try to use both sides because I'm always writing. Okay. We're doing all the things to survive. We're going through the motions, but the pain doesn't seem to be moving. It doesn't seem like it's moving because to us, this feels like grief. To us, it feels like we're absolutely grieving. But the pain doesn't move. The grief never softens. And your life is just in a loop. It's possibly that you're in a grief storm, that you're absolutely in a grief storm where you're absolutely stuck. If I met you and you were repeating everything, this is a loop. Sometimes I call it a grief storm. Sometimes we're just on repeat. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm going to be like this for the rest of my life. This hurts. Hear me out. It's sometimes these things are playing in the back of our mind. They're playing in the back of our brain. We don't even hear ourselves saying it because we're saying them so much. We don't hear ourselves saying it because we're saying it so much. Why won't this sink in? It won't sink in because you're in your brain. It's never going to sink in from here. This loop is coming from your brain. These thoughts are coming from your brain. And these thoughts that I'm saying, they're just the most common that most people talk about. They're not the only thoughts. And I don't know what your thoughts are. She should be here. I don't know what your thought is, but these are thoughts that are playing on repeat in your brain. That's what the loop is. Hear me out when I tell you grief does not happen in your brain. Grief happens in your heart. It happens in a broken heart. Look, here. This is where grief takes place. But I'm so sorry, friends. I'm sorry. Because the world has told us to be here. And it's such a little speck. They've told us to be here. They've never told you that it happens here. But that's my job. I'm going to give you the map so you can follow the path to here. What is here? Here's the pain. Here's the brokenness. Here's the part we don't understand. See, you're thinking, you're moving, you keep cycling round and round. You get stuck in the same grief patterns, and you haven't even realized it yet. You haven't even realized it yet. All right. There's a pain that doesn't live in your chest. There is a pain that lives in your rhythm. The rhythm of who you are as the griever. And I am afraid that a lot of us are becoming comfortable in the rhythm. A lot of us are becoming comfortable in the rhythm. TikTok, I love you. I see all the links, all the thoughts. I'm going to go back to the top as soon as this is done. Let me teach this lesson. Angelica, don't leave. Stay for the lesson, love. I could come in here and just talk to you guys, right? And just talk at you and answer all your questions, but I want to give you something to work with. That's why it's called the Grief School. I want to give you something to work with. I want you understanding where you are first, so you know where you have to go. So you know where you are going. Okay. There's a kind of pain that doesn't just live in your chest. It's in the rhythm. It becomes the way you wake up, the way you breathe, the way you sit in silence when the world quiets down at night. You get that cup of coffee and you sit on the couch. It's not an explosive pain that's happening in the rhythm. It's the days that grief start connecting to one another. It's the days when the grief starts connecting to one another. Day 1, day 2, day 5, day 7, day 18. They all start to look the same because you, my friend, are doing the same thing. You, my friend, are breathing in the same rhythm. You are waking up, you're doing the things you have to do, and then you come back and do it all over again. What you're feeling is not something that's going to explode. When you get into this rhythm, it's not going to explode. It quiets down at night sometimes. Sometimes it ramps up at night. Sometimes it ramps up in the morning. For me, it was always the morning. But as we go on in our rhythm, it starts to get heavier. When you aren't doing anything, like you're not going to do anything on day 1, you're not going to do anything on day 18, but on day 90, it's going to feel a hell of a lot different than on day 120. On day 365, oh, the weight that you are carrying, you're carrying it to every room. You're carrying it into every room. And you think that it's just a part of the grief. You think that this rhythm is just a part of the grief. Bum, 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 bum. What rhythm is your heart beating in? What rhythm is your broken heart beating in? Because I promise you it's not beating that same beat it used to beat. But we started getting used to it. As time goes on, we start getting used to it. As time moves, because time moves fast and it moves slow. And as the time starts to move in that rhythm, we start to get used to it. Listen, I have a daughter named Brittany. Most of you guys know Brittany because she's always in here helping me. Brittany was 10 pounds, almost 10 pounds when she was born. I am 5'3". I'm 5'3". Brittany's was almost 10 pounds. Right now, Brittany is just short of 6 foot. And I'm sure I don't know her weight, but I wouldn't say it on here. She's a big girl. Most times when I'm talking to Brittany, I'm looking up at her like this. What do you mean you can't do that? Most times when I'm talking to Brittany, that's how it is. When Brittany was a little girl, when she was born, I had my 10-pound baby. I'm going everywhere. As Brittany began to grow, I got used to carrying Brittany. I could carry her. I pick her up. You guys, when I tell you this, I'm not exaggerating. When Brittany was 2 years old, she almost looked like she was 4 years old. She was so tall, she looked like a 4-year-old. At 2 years old, I'm carrying my baby everywhere I go. Her feet are at my knees, and she was 2. Her feet were dangling at my knees, and she was 2 years old. I got used to carrying the weight. As Brittany began to grow, my body just became used to carrying the weight because she was just growing a little bit at a time. Even though now when I look back at it, it seemed like it was growing really fast. But she was growing a little bit at a time. I could pick that girl up and walk through the grocery store, grab what I needed, right? And get going. It's the same thing with grief, right? This is our broken heart on day 1. It's solid. It's hard. It's solid. This is day 1. This is day 21. It's solid, it's hard, but now it's gotten bigger. It's gotten bigger because you've talked about it, because people have added to your story. You've met other people and they've told you about their grief. The reality of what has happened is starting to seep in. But you're doing your thing, right? The rhythm of grief starts to become comfortable. The grief is growing. It grows bigger. It doesn't grow smaller. And this is what a lot of people think. They think we're going to go, it goes in reverse. Like, oh my gosh, this is the day that I found out. This is the day that she called me and told me that Austin drowned at the lake. No, friends, this is the day they called me and told me Austin drowned at the lake. It goes this way and it continues to go, and we allow it to go because we get into the rhythm of the grief, and the rhythm of the grief has a beat all to its own. And we still show up at work with that rhythm and that beat. Your heart is beating to a different tune. It's not beating the way. There's a missing beat in there. There's a missing beat in there. We've gotten so used to it, we don't even notice it. And we carry this weight into every room that we go. We carry this weight into every room that we go. I talk a lot about people with big egos, how their ego enters the room. People who have really large egos, their ego can enter the room 10 minutes before they do. Let me tell you something, and this is the absolute truth. Your grief will enter the room 10 minutes before you walk in there. They see you coming. They see you coming from a mile away. What? Oh, they're avoiding you. You think they're avoiding you? They're avoiding you. Why? Because they don't know what to do with this. This is day 120. They don't know what to do with it. And you don't know what to do with it either. You don't know where to lay it down. It's heavy. It has a life all of its own. It has a rhythm all of its own. But here's the deal, friends. You got used to it. You're used to the rhythm. You're getting used to it, and it's becoming comfortable. It's becoming who you are. It's becoming a part of your personality. It's becoming a part of your life. And that is not what is supposed to happen. Rhythm. Grief is not supposed to become your shadow. Grief 100% is supposed to be processed all the way through. You were supposed to go here, and at some point when you're ready, you're supposed to look into this broken heart, and you are supposed to start dealing with this pain. I talked last night about sometimes I meet women, I come on the grief journey, and they're at year 3 or year 4, and this is their friend. And they're not ready to get rid of this, and they will never get rid of it because they have decided that this is who they are. They have decided that this is who they are, and this is their friend. And it becomes comfortable. There is a danger in allowing too much time to come past us, and the rhythm become very comfortable. The rhythm of the grief become very comfortable. Hey, Tina, what are you doing up so early, girl? There is a rhythm that we can become very comfortable. We don't realize that we're supposed to go in here and look at this and do the work. And you think it's just a part of your grief. And you think that this is how it's supposed to go. Sometimes people never talk about it. Hey, everybody, good morning. Sometimes people never talk about it. Yes, they never talk about it, or they never stop talking about it. If you guys go back to my podcast, you can listen to the You can listen to the podcast, Hey Sandra, on the Grief Queen. The Grief Queen is the one who has gotten stuck in her grief. She's probably here. As I said, the grief enters the room 10 minutes before she does. She doesn't stop talking about the grief. She doesn't understand why people aren't supporting her any longer. Because her identity has become her grief. Your grief is not your identity. Your grief is your process. Your grief is your process that your heart goes through. Your grief is your process that your heart goes through to serve a purpose. So people don't want us around. I am so nothing. People don't want us around. No, they don't know what to do with you. They want you around. They want you to be at the party, girl. I know you're not a girl, but they want you to be at the party. They want you to be here. They want you to come. They want you to come to the barbecue because you used to be the funnest one at the barbecue. You always got the dancing started. But now you go to the barbecue and you sit on the couch. Now you go to the barbecue and you just sit on the couch. You're watching everybody have fun because you're here. Maybe you're here. Maybe you're here. The grief is going to grow bigger, I promise you, as time goes. This is an invisible pattern that happens, and it keeps the pain alive. This is an invisible pattern that happens, and it keeps the pain alive. It's not because you want the hurt to be there. It's because you don't know what else to do. It's not because you want the hurt to be there. It's because you don't know what else to do. Grief isn't just emotional. Grief is our behavior. Grief is the behavior that we form around the grief. Grief is behavioral. It shows you how to move. It shows up in exactly how you move, in exactly how you think, in exactly how you avoid the grief, how you speak to yourself, how you speak to everyone else. What behavior are you using to manage your grief? What behavior are you using to engage with the world? And over time, these behaviors, these habits start to build a wall around you. In time, it starts to build a wall around who you are. You begin to live in an emotional jail, trapped between the past and the future. Okay, this is one of the things that I teach in grief healing, and I want to share this with you guys today. I want to show you some of the things that we teach. And 7 o'clock is really early. That's all I got to say. As your heart as your grief starts to grow, right? As your grief starts to grow, you start making this jail. You start to lock yourself into a jail of your own making because you don't know what to do with this broken heart. So you stop going to the parties. You stop going to taking the invites. You stop calling people. You're mad that no one's checking on you. You start doing all of the things. But here's the thing about the jail, my friend. Healing isn't about the jail. Because here's what's happening with the jail. The jail is only 2 bars. The jail is only 2 bars. And at any moment, you could have walked. Look at this. This girl is thin. She could have walked out this side. She could have walked out that side. But no, it feels more comfortable to be in grief jail. No one put us in grief jail. We put ourselves there. We put ourselves there by allowing this grief to grow, by allowing ourselves to get in the rhythm of grief and stay there. So we go into jail. But here is specifically what we are grieving. We're grieving when we look at the past. We're grieving when we look at the future. This is us doing this. We're going between the past and the future, the past and the future, the past and the future. In our mind, it's our brain doing this. We know for a fact that a griever can have as much as 90% regret. Why didn't I pick up the phone? Why didn't I go there? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? All of the things we wish we had done. All of the things that we wish we had done. We look back at our relationship with our person and we have regret. We look back at our pain, at our relationship with our person, and we fall apart. There are things in our life that we wish we would have done differently. And that is eating us alive on our grief. It's eating us alive. We're in a grief jail of our own making, and we're stuck in our brain because we're looking at this regret. It hurts. It hurts. We look to the future, and we could have as much as 90% worry. As much as 90% worry. No, you're not going to be here when he gets married. What about when they have their first baby? Do I have to sell this house? Should I sell this car? Do I need to get a job? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what is the thing that I should be doing next. And we start to spin in both of these. This right here, the jail of our own making, is what makes the grief storm. This is what makes the grief storm. And I'm telling you, she could have walked out. There's only 2 bars. She can walk out at any moment. But staying in grief jail feels comfortable. It feels better. It feels where I should be. Friends, if you are grieving right now, my heart to yours, truly my heart to yours. If you're in grief jail, I want to get you out. I want to help you get out. I want to break you free. I got a hammer. I got a chisel. One of the things we talk about in my grief program is this. This is one of the things I teach, because a lot of it, the key does exist. It does exist, my love, because a lot of us don't even realize that we're in this grief jail. We think we're supposed to be here. Hear me out. We think we're supposed to be here. We put ourselves here because it hurts so much. Exactly. We put ourselves in grief jail because it hurts so much. Here's the other thing about grief jail. It's comfortable. Grief jail is comfortable. You guys can see her when she's in grief jail. You know who she is. You know who he is. They're talking about the grief. They're talking about the pain. They're talking about what hurts. We are trapped between the past that you can't let go of and the future that you cannot see without them in it. You are freaking out. But I want you to know you deserve a future that is not full of weakness, that is not full of pain. A grief that doesn't go unprocessed will keep you stuck. You don't have to stay here, friends. This is a choice. Grievers have choices. And I know, you guys, I don't want to offend anybody, but guess what? Grievers have choices. Staying in a jail of your own making is a choice. Staying in grief is a choice. Did you know that? I know you're like, this witch is crazy. Hey, Cheryl, she's crazy. I'm not choosing this. I have no choice. Yes. Hear me out. You had a choice to come into the live today. You have a choice to come back to the lies. You had a choice to come to the emotional reset. You have a choice to tell the truth every single day about where you're at. You have a choice to tell the truth about where you are every single day of your life. You have that choice. Suzanne says, staying in grief is choosing suffering. Staying in grief is you're choosing suffering. Why would I choose suffering? Sharon, you're crazy. Why the hell would I choose suffering? Because, hear me out, friends, you think you're supposed to. You think you're supposed to. You think that this is your love for them. That this pain is all you have left. I'm speaking from experience. I'm not making this up. This was me. This was me. This pain equals love, and I now need to keep the love. No. Love is love. Pain is pain. Period. Love is love. Pain is pain. When grief goes unprocessed, it becomes comfortable. It starts to become comfortable. It becomes your new life. It becomes your new identity. Oh, there she is. There's Sharon, the griever. That's the girl that's grieving. Yeah. Let's go over here. People don't want you to dump this true story on them everywhere. They don't want to go to the party and have you dump this grief story on them. They're tired. They're tired of hearing your story. There's a special place where this needs to be done. The grief school just happens to be one of those. So let's name what this is. Most women I work with aren't just sad. They're stuck. They're stuck because they haven't been given the instructions on how to do this. And they're not just stuck for a couple of days. They've been stuck for months. Not because they don't love their person enough. Not because they're grieving wrong, but because their daily habits, are automatic, they're in the rhythm of the grief, and they are doing a ton of unexplained behaviors. I never used to drink, but I'm over here drinking like I'm a cuckoo bird. I never would eat at midnight, but now I'm getting up every night and I can't stop eating. I never had a problem sleeping, but I keep waking up. I can't stop sleeping. They are reinforcing their pain instead of relieving it. Let me say that again for, hey, Debbie, because 7 a.m. is early. That's why. She's like, I'm sorry I'm late. It's too early. They're reinforcing their pain. We start reinforcing the pain instead of relieving the pain. We're drinking the alcohol. We're crying on the couch. We're not sleeping at night. We're eating all the food. We're not eating at all. We are not brushing our teeth. We haven't taken a shower. We're stuck into watching that same show over and over again. We're scrolling on the internet. We're spending money like it is going out of style. Jail of our own making. We're in a jail of our own making. We are literally spinning in the grief. We are in a jail of our own making and we don't know how to get out. Your grief isn't always growing, but it's certainly not moving, right? So it grows. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Your grief is always growing, especially if you're not willing to deal with it. And eventually, what's going to happen is your heart is going to get to a part where the grief is just becomes that comfortable state. And that's when you're going to stay there. It's always growing, it's always changing, it's always shifting. But the deal is, it's not moving. It's not moving. A beautiful lady in here just said, "This is me. I have new habits. I don't go out anymore because you want to stay in this jail. It's comfortable in jail." I was in jail. I was in grief jail. You guys, I'm telling you stuff that I didn't just make up. I'm not just telling you things that I made up. I absolutely have been here. I was in grief jail. I was in grief jail when Austin with Austin. Sorry. Um, hey, Nurse Birdie. Uh, hold on to the thought that I failed. I want to help you with that. Please hold on to that thought. I was in jail with Austin, and I was getting to the point that I wasn't going to move. If I didn't do something about the grief at the moment that I did do the grief work, I was not going to move. Here's where I was at. Sorry, you guys. Your grief habits start to become automatic. You start to reinforce them. It makes sense to go to the refrigerator at midnight. Why? You get woken up from your grief. You probably woke up because you had a dream. You probably woke up because you had a dream. You had a dream about your person or dream of fear, a fearful dream, and it woke you up. And when that dream woke you up, it woke you up out of a sound sleep. You get up and immediately you're reminded that you're still grieving. Immediately you feel the pain in your heart. Immediately you want to do something about this pain. So you get up and you walk to your couch. You sit there. You're not going to maybe process. You scroll through the TV. You're not finding what you want. So you get up and you go in the kitchen. You walk into the kitchen and you see those dishes that you didn't wash. The trash can is full and you really don't even care. You walk right to the refrigerator. You open the door. You pull out some cheese, a piece of fruit, and you grab a bag of chips. You go back to the couch and you sit on the couch and you eat that. Then you realize, hey, I know I had wine with dinner, but I got to go back to sleep. So you go back, it's midnight, and you go grab another glass of wine. And you sit on the couch. Excuse me, I had a hair in my mouth. You sit on the couch. It definitely didn't come from my head. You sit on the couch and you drink that wine. I know her. I am her. You're not just stuck that night. You're stuck for months. You're stuck for years. Not because you don't have enough love. Not because you don't have enough love. And not because you're doing the grieving wrong. It's because you've built up a rhythm of bad habits. They're automatic. They're unexplained behaviors. And you're reinforcing them day in and day out to try and relieve this pain. And when something doesn't move, it starts to become a structure. It becomes a structure around you. It becomes the walls of your life. And you build around it. Not through it, you build around it. So the jail of your own making is where we actually put our heart, right? We put our heart in this jail because it hurts so bad and I don't know what to do with it. The grief starts to have this structure because we have this rhythm that's starting to happen and we're doing the same things. Let's talk about the structure that comes from the grief loop that keeps building. First, the number one thing we're doing is avoiding. What are we avoiding? We're avoiding the pain. We're avoiding the grief. We're avoiding the story. We're avoiding the truth. And I'm telling you, you're avoiding doing the work because that has fear, is connected to fear. And a lot of times it starts with a memory. We have a memory about our person, and that starts the ball rolling. That starts the rhythm of the grief. So you wake up in the morning, you remember that you're in grief. You instantly go to your person and you start thinking about your person. Your chest starts to tighten. And instead of pushing it and feeling it and naming it and letting it be there, you push it down. You distract yourself. You scroll on the internet. You text somebody back. And the emotion's like, well, I guess she's not feeling me today. And it goes back away. This happens day in and day out. Doesn't disappear, and it's not going to go anywhere. It just buries deeper and deeper inside of you. That's what's growing. What's growing is this grief. What's growing inside of you is the grief. What's growing inside of you is the grief from avoiding. Time passes, days pass, weeks pass, and we're still just in the grief. The loop is the mental rehearsal. The loop is the emotional rehearsal. The emotional rehearsal that you and I are supposed to learn to move from, how we move the grief. It's in the moment that you replay that memory over and over again. It's in the moment that you replay that memory and you don't allow the pain of that memory to be there. That's the loop. The loop is saying the same thing over and over again. You just said it. Why me? Why not me? Why her? Why today? Why? I'm a good person. Why did this happen to me? Once the memory starts, we stop breathing. We hold our breath. We want it to go away. Friends, this is the part of the grief. This is the part of the grief that needs to be talked about. This is the part of the grief that needs to be shared. This is the part of the grief that needs to be moved. Your mind and your heart get into this rehearsal every single day. Every single day, this grief is coming. Every single day, the grief is coming. But you keep pushing it down. You tell yourself that you're really processing grief. Hear me out. Hear me out, everybody. You tell yourself that you're grieving. That's what you call it. You tell yourself that you're grieving. You literally say to yourself, oh, this is grief. This is how I'm supposed to feel. Oh, this is what Sharon's talking about. It's processing. When you're staying stuck in the pain and you're pushing the pain out of the way, that's not grieving. That's staying stuck. Your brain is telling you, oh, yeah, she's right. I'm processing the grief. But that's not what's happening. You're only teaching yourself to bring it back up and stuff it down again. You're reliving it. and dragging it with you everywhere you go. Okay, I want to go back to this. So we have emotional avoidance. Hold on. Hold, please. It's where we are avoiding the emotions. We absolutely are avoiding the emotions. Then we get stuck in the mental rehearsal where we continue to do the same thing over and over again. We continue to do the same thing over and over again. I say rehearsal. The emotions are happening in our heart. The mental rehearsal is happening in our brain. This feels so bad, we don't know what to do, but I'm going to do it again tomorrow. Isn't that what they say insanity is? Getting up and doing the same thing over and over again? The loop is the mental rehearsal. You know this one. It's the moment you play what happened. The moment you play what happened over and over again. The moment you got the call. The moment you stopped breathing. The moment the last words you said to him. The last thing that you said. I distinctly remember the last day I saw Austin. It's an amazing memory for me. The details of that last moment feel like the facts. They feel like the facts of your story. They start to become the anchor of who you are. And your mind keeps rehearsing them over and over again because this is not making sense and you don't know how to get out of this. And so you keep going over and over again. But what's actually happening is you're re-traumatizing yourself. Friends, there is healing in the story. I want you to understand that. There's healing in the story. But here's the thing about the story. The story needs to be heard. The story needs to be heard and listened to by one other living soul. The story has healing, but it needs to be heard and listened to by one other living soul that's not going to compare your story to theirs. But that's not what happened. We start telling the story to everybody and anybody who will listen. There's healing in the story. And it's not just a story. And when I tell you that Erica told me the same story over and over again, she told me the same story when Austin died. For 240 days. I'm not exaggerating. For 240 days, my baby sister repeated the story over and over again, and I would listen to it. And we thought we were grieving. We thought we were grieving. We thought we were doing the right thing. I believe that there was healing happening, and it's true. There's healing happening, and I want to listen to your story. But I'm also going to find the spots that you need to heal in that story. I'm not going to just leave you stuck in the story. Yes, it's re-traumatizing, but there's parts of it we need to pull out. We need to look at. When you're telling your story, it's a lot of it has to do with your brain. It's the mental rehearsal that you have to go through, and this is the healing part. And then going back into your heart. That's what happens when you're doing the healing. But that's not what happens when we're grieving. We're avoiding the emotions. We get stuck in the story instead of the story being the healing. I'm going to put a bracket around this because this is how you heal in the story. Once the loops gets going, our identity collapses. Hear me out. We have emotional avoidance. We keep telling the story over and over again. We keep going through the memories over and over again. And then our identity collapses. It's subtle. It's subtle when we become the griever. It's subtle when we become the griever. We didn't even realize it, but we become the griever. And it's brutal. We become the griever and we walk into the room as the griever. You start adjusting to who you are now, not who you were. You're adjusting to who you are, not who you were. Your role has changed. Your energy has changed. You start seeing yourself differently. You start talking differently. You start believing that this is the version of who you're supposed to be for the rest of your life. And this one really hurts. When your identity collapse, it really hurts. You cancel plans. You don't answer text messages. You don't answer the phone. You're not meaning to be this person. You're not meaning to become this person. It just happens. You stop dressing the way you used to. You stop making future plans. You stop talking to her because she still has a husband. She doesn't get what you're going through. You stop talking about dreams for your future. And little by little, your life becomes smaller. Little by little, your life becomes smaller. Friends, this is when you become the griever, and it is part of your new life. Okay, you're avoiding your emotions. You're in mental rehearsal, telling the story over and over again to anyone who will listen. Not the right person. You're telling it to anyone who will listen. Your identity starts to collapse. I have told you guys this before, but a couple of years ago, Erica was at a wedding. It was about 2 years ago. She was at a wedding, and a cousin of ours were like, "Hey, Erica, meet my friend Janice." And they just started talking. And Erica turned around because she went back to the conversation she was at, and she heard the person behind her say, "She's the girl who lost the 2 kids." She heard it in her ear. She's the one that lost the 2 kids. Like, is that what I've been reduced to? Have I been reduced to being the griever? Have I been reduced to being the griever? The perpetual griever? Am I now? Yes, I am the mother who's lost 2 children, but I'm not the permanent griever. It's not what she was saying, but in essence, that we're, oh, that's her. Who are you now? Who do they introduce you as? Are they even willing to introduce you? Are they even willing to talk to you anymore? Kara says, I did the opposite. I tried to keep busy as possible and say yes to every invitation. It's the same. You either sit on the couch and do nothing, or you stay so busy. There's two ends of the spectrum. I just happen to be sharing this one today. The next thing is we become emotionally isolated. Can y'all still see the board? We emotionally isolate. It is a loop. These are all loops, friends. They're the loops that we're in. Now, you are doing all of them, but you're doing them all at different times, right? Your identity is definitely collapsing. So you go back to the mental rehearsal, you go to emotional avoidance, and then you isolate emotionally. You can be doing all of them, or you can really be just stuck in one. You tell yourself that no one gets it. You convince yourself it's easier not to talk about it. You keep your pain quiet because you're tired of being misunderstood. Or worse, you are so tired of being pitied. You sit with your grief silence, scrolling through other people's lives, wondering how they're still smiling. How, don't you see me? I'm grieving. Here's the thing, the more silent you stay, the more you isolate. The more silent you stay, the more you isolate, the more you refuse to feel. The more silent you stay, the more isolated, the more you refuse to feel, you absolutely get stuck. And it becomes harder and harder to move. It's harder to believe that anyone really understands you. So the loops just continue. The loneliness becomes a part of your daily rhythm. The loneliness now becomes a part of your daily rhythm. Okay, let's pause right here. I want to ask you a question and you don't have to answer it. I just want you to think about it. What is the one thing in your grief that you are doing every day and you know it is keeping you stuck in pain? What's the one thing that is keeping you stuck? What's the one thing that you're doing that you know is keeping you stuck in your pain? What does your grief routine look like? What rhythm are you in? Friends, a lot of us think of grief as a routine. Like, in order for me to get through this, I got to set up a routine. Grief is a routine, and that is not true. You become the routine. You have become the grief routine. You're avoiding places. You don't drive past that hospital anymore. You're not going to Pizza Hut because you guys went there every Friday. You're not talking about that. You're avoiding places. You rush through the mornings and just get to work so you can keep busy. You fall asleep with noise on, and you guys never used to do that. You sleep with the TV on now, just so you don't have to dream, you don't have to think. The routine is how you answer how you're doing. When people say, "Hey girl, how's it going? I haven't seen you since the funeral. How you doing?" "I'm okay." The lie you tell. That's in the routine. You answer the I'm okay before they even finish the sentence because you want them to shut up and you don't want them to ask the follow-up question. How's the grief going? How you been since he died? What are you doing with your days? What are you doing with your time? And that's the conundrum. We actually do want people to ask that, but then again, we don't. We want them to ask us, but we don't want to cry in front of them. We don't want to break down in front of them. So please don't ask the question. Don't ask the question. Don't ask the question. We cut them off. We change the subject before they get a chance to change the subject. You're falling asleep with noise. You're answering the questions before they get the chance to finish. It is grief. This routine is also the way you talk to yourself. The way you talk to yourself when you make a mistake. It's the thing that you honestly believe. This is what I was talking about last night, that peace is not for you, that there is no peace for you. You also believe that when you make a mistake, you start to blame it on the grief. Oh man, I didn't make that payment. I didn't call her. I told her I was going to call her. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot. I completely forgot. It is in the way that you believe that good things are for everybody else and they are no longer for you. That is a lie. It's the way that you believe that you are supposed to live this life, a life of suffering, a life of never moving on. Friends, I want to tell you something. Your grief is not making you weak. Your grief tells me that you're human, no matter where you are in this grief. It tells me you're human. It tells me that you're living, that even though you haven't figured this out, even though you haven't figured out the path that's right for you, it tells me you are human, because humans grieve. You got to start seeing these patterns because they're keeping you stuck. You start believing the lie that you are supposed to suffer like this. This is what grief is supposed to be like, and I'm going to be like this forever, and I'm okay with it. Grief isn't a place to live. It is a place to pass through. Your grief and your broken heart are not a place to live. Do not set up camp in your grief. This is your broken heart. This is your person. This is your pain. And we're supposed to pass through this. Grief is a place for us to pass through, not a place for us to set up camp. But most of us don't know what to do, so we just set up the camp. We get the tent, we get the campfire going, and we just set up camp there. You've got to start seeing the patterns of how you're setting up the grief camp. You're not supposed to feel like this forever. You are supposed to move. You're supposed to move through it. It is going to change the shape of who you are. I promise you, your shape is going to change. Your reality of who you are is going to change. You will be forever changed. Forever changed. This is after I lost Sharon. Not me, Sharon. Sharon, my girlfriend. I'll never be that girl anymore. I am forever changed. It changes the shape of who you are. Sometimes you're softer. Sometimes you're harder. But it's only going to change the shape of who you are when you interrupt it. When you get in there, and I tell you guys this all the time, sometimes the grief needs to be hit so that we can knock it out. Which grief loop do you recognize yourself the most in? Avoiding? The mental rehearsal? The identity collapse? Or the isolation? Which loop are you in right now? Those are not stages. I'm just teaching that this is kind of what happens. I don't believe in the stages of grief. Friends, what would happen if you could stop feeling this way? Kat says all of them. Yes, we're in all of them. We are in all of them. You're absolutely right. What would happen if you could stop feeding the loop? Feeding the loop. Bobby says the collapse is real. All right. My name is Sharon Brubaker. I'm a grief specialist. I'm the owner of the Grief School, the place where healing begins. And when I tell you guys that I have cracked the code, I, along with my sister Erica, who is the mother of Austin and Donovan, Austin died in 2006. He drowned at the lake. Austin died in 2006. He drowned at the lake. Donovan died in 2015. He died of a motorcycle accident. She's the mother of both of those boys. And through those losses, we have cracked the code on how to get through, how to work on the grief, how to remove the pain. Suzanne says it best. The pain is replaced with love. Your love. Your love is what you feel. This whole that the grief caused, it's going to forever stay there. This hole that the grief caused will forever stay there. And what fills in the pain is actually love. And look at this. My heart is no longer broken. Will it break again? Yes. Because we're going to have wonderful, wonderful. Bobby, I'm over here reading your thing. You are a wonderful sister. We will have multiple grieving experiences throughout our life. But when you do the work, I'm going to help you go after the crack. We're going to remove the pain and it's going to be filled with love. What does the love, when it's filled like love, look like? It looks like you will think about your person. It looks like you will miss your person. It looks like sometimes you will long for them, but you won't be broken down. You're not stuck in a rhythm that you can't understand. Today, okay, so last night, Tony has a really bad cold. Tony's my husband. Tony has a really bad cold, and so he's coughing unmercifully. And every 5 minutes, I felt like I was getting woken up. I was like, do you have a cough drop? Did you take the Advil cold and sinus? Did you do this? I'm like trying to get him to do all the things. And he's doing all the things, but he's still coughing all night. So the sleep was really bad. So I knew I had to be here at 7 a.m. I woke up at 6. I first woke up at 5. And then I woke up at 6. And I started scrolling to help my brain start to wake up. My brain is a slow start, guys. And I'm out of my Nutrigum, Neurogum. I got the mints, but anyway, those are all side notes to the story. I saw this story. I saw a story. I'm sorry, I wanted to lean into that because I loved it. I saw a story. It looked like it was a boat, like this family was on a trip and they're on a boat. And they had a little girl. She was like 2 or 3 years old. She was like 2 or 3 years old. And they put her in a vest on they were catapulting her off of the boat. So it was like part of the trip. They were using this catapult thing to go, and it was going back and forth. It was like a swing of sorts. She was 2 or 3 years old. And the boat operator had her on the thing. She had her little vest on. The mom was on the end, talking her through. And the camera pans to the dad. The dad is in the water and he's encouraging her. He's encouraging her. And so she swings like 4 or 5 times, but she doesn't let go. She's supposed to go out, right? Like you or I as an adult, we would go out, we'd swing a couple times, and then we'd drop into the water. That's what they wanted her to do. And her dad was in the water. And he was like, come on, honey. I got you. I got you. And it brought me back to a story when I was a little girl. And I looked at that video. I looked at the video, you guys, and I was like, I miss my dad. I miss my dad. My dad was a big guy. He was big physically, but he was a big guy. And one time when I was a little girl, we were playing ball and my brother kicked the ball up on top of the roof. But it was at my uncle's house and the roof was it was on the garage. So it was sort of short. So my dad was like, come here, Sharon. And he grabbed me and he threw me up onto the roof and I was able to get the ball and throw it down. And then he was like, come on, jump. And I was scared. I was scared. And when I saw that little girl, I knew she was scared. But I also knew her daddy was in the water waiting for her. He was in the water waiting to catch her. I just want you guys to hear. This is a memory that I had this morning. And I just watched the little girl swing. And I was scared. I was scared to jump off the roof into my dad's arms. But he was like, come on. I got you. I'm going to catch you. And eventually I mustered up the energy and I jumped and he caught me. And I went into his huge, safe, secure hands. And seeing that memory this morning reminded me that I missed him. Seeing that memory this morning reminded me that I miss him. But it didn't break me down. It's not going to ruin my day. My heart is filled with love. And yes, I miss him. I absolutely miss him. No joke. It's true. I miss my dad. I wish he was here. I wish he was here for every part of this life. I wish he was here to see the business that Erica and I are building. She has hers and I have mine. But together we teach at the grief school. I miss him. And I love him. And my heart is no longer broken from the loss of my dad, and I absolutely miss him. And that was a great memory this morning. It was a great memory for him and I to share. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share that. And that's what it feels like when you are forever changed, when you have gone through your grief and you've worked out all the pain. Let me tell you what didn't happen. I'm sorry, side note. What didn't happen is I didn't see that memory. I didn't see that video and then start listing all the things about my dad. 3rd grade, school, church, right? I didn't go into all the memories of all the times he didn't show up for me. This is not true. I'm making this up. All the times he didn't show up for me. All the times that he and I still needed to work things out. My brain didn't take me into that. It took me into love, safety, security, and missing him. And it was absolutely okay to do that. Absolutely okay for me to do that. This is why I created Forever Changed. It is an intensive grief weekend. Friends, prior to COVID, Erica and I would do these grief weekends, and we love them because working with you in person is amazing. We're able to give you the hug. We're able to give you the support. After COVID, we went online. I was already on Zoom before COVID, but that it became more and more apparent. In the process of that, I moved to Texas, and staying on Zoom was actually absolutely amazing. But recently, Erica and I decided we're going to go back to I decided, and I'm dragging her along with me. Why? Because you can't think your way out of this. You can't keep staying in the loop and thinking you're going to heal. Journaling is not the only way out. You can't hope enough time will pass and the cycle will break. You can't hope that one day you're going to get there and it's just going to loosen. If anything, time is going to reinforce it. And remember, I told you, there are a lot of people I meet that they are so far deep into it, they can't get past it. The only way to break out of the habits is to step in to a place that I've created, not only me, there are other people that are doing it, but that are safe, where I can teach you how to feel safe. I can teach you in a safe place. I can teach you in a safe place how to move this grief. I want to show you how to stop reliving the story and start releasing it. That's what I'm inviting your body to do. I'm inviting your mind, your body, and your heart to move again, to move this grief, to not just be functional, but to heal. Okay, I'm going to tell you the name of the weekend again. It's called the Forever Change, Forever Change Intensive Weekend. I want to point this out because it's an intensive. You're not coming for me to massage you. You're not coming to hear sound bowls, even though all those things are beautiful. You're coming to do the work, the much needed work on your heart. And probably for most of us, we will cry, including myself. Probably for most of us, we will really be mad. But I'm going to help you move that energy to stop blaming the pain, stop blaming the story, stop blaming the person, stop blaming the world, stop blaming, and start taking back your power. take back your healing power. We start by tracking what your grief is doing, what it has done to you, not just emotionally, but what has it done to your nervous system? What has it done to you physically? What has it done to you spiritually? I want to pull out your brain and have you look at it. We help you shift from survival into the choices that are perfect for you. And we teach you how to create new habits, new rituals, and new language for living. A new way to show up. You will be forever changed. You will look different. What would healing look like for you? What would healing look like? Healing is not forgetting your person. Healing looks like exactly like the story I told you this morning of my dad. Rhonda says, I just can't seem to let go. You can't let go, Rhonda, because no one showed you how to do it. And I want to tell you this. Thank you, Rhonda, for putting that. You're letting go of the pain, not the person. I had no idea when I saw that video this morning that I was going to be filled with the spirit of my dad. I had no idea. And it was good. It felt really good. You are not stuck because of your grief. Can I yell that out to the people in the back so you can hear this? You're not stuck because of your grief. You're stuck because you got into a loop of the emotional path. You're in a rhythm and nobody has come along and knocked you out of it. I'm not going to knock you out of it, but you're going to do the emotional knocking. We're in the same emotional state day in and day out. In the beginning, it feels very unfamiliar. In the beginning, it feels very unfamiliar. But then we start making it a part of who we are. To all of you who are here, to the one who wants to move this, to the one who deserves to feel peace in their body, I'm speaking to you. I'm not just talking to the pain. I'm talking to your heart. This is that moment right there. This is the moment where I want to tell you about a place where you can come and heal. You need to do something that your grief doesn't expect you to do. It doesn't expect you to go after it. It expects you to stay in the loop because that's what you've been told. I want to help you break the loop. I want to help you rebuild the rhythm of your life. I want to do it together. Okay. My name is Sharon Brubaker, and I'm the owner of the Grief School. The Grief School is the place where healing begins. The Grief School is the place where healing begins. And I'm doing that in a grief intensive weekend right here in Dallas, Texas. I have one in July, one in July, September, and November. Those are the 3 that we have left for the end of the year. We have 3 coming up. Click on the link in my bio that says click here for hope. Right at the top, it says get on the wait list for the intensive. We're going to be launching the intensive in the landing page on Monday. All of the information. They will be in Dallas till the end of the year. Places where you'll be able to find the intensive are going to be Arizona, Texas, and Los Angeles and San Diego. That's where I'm going to be hosting them. Why those? No, Becky, it does not matter. Why did I pick those? Because that's where I have children. That's where I have children. I live in Dallas, and I may actually even go to Florida because I have a grandson in Florida. So next year you may actually see us in Florida. But here's the deal. Get on the wait list. We're releasing the landing page on Monday. Okay, one other thing I want to tell you guys. I want to tell you guys something. If you came to the emotional reset last week, thank you. Beautiful, beautiful women. If you got the wrong email or didn't get the email, Brittany needs to move to Chicago. Wait till I tell her. She's going to love it. Okay. If you didn't get the email, my most profound apologies to you. So my assistant went out of town last week, and we messed up the emails. We messed up the time. It was. I survived. I survived. I'm still breathing. Hold on. Okay, so last week we had an emotional reset. It was 3 days. A lot of people didn't get their email. They didn't get their email on time, and I take full responsibility for that. I take full responsibility for that. Poor Jovi was on vacation. I was texting her, screaming, yelling. Okay. So I am going to do an encore of the emotional reset. Here's the deal. If you've come to the emotional reset, if you paid, it was $19. If you didn't get the emails, if you didn't get the right time, if you got a free ticket, because people were getting free tickets, I don't even know what was going on there. I'm going to do an emotional reset encore. Originally, I said the other night, I'm going to do it for 3 days, the 24th, 25th, 26th. That's not working out. I'm going to do it. This is the encore. I'm going to do it 3 Wednesdays in a row. I want you to come. If you go to the link in my bio that says click here for hope and you haven't signed up, you can sign up for the emotional reset. It might not let you sign up, but hold on because I'll have it ready for you by Monday because that's when Jovi will be back. I'm going to do it on June 25th from 5 to 7 p.m. June 25th from 5 to 7. And I know the next week is the 4th of July, but I'm going to do it on July 2nd from 7 to 9 p.m. If you came to the emotional reset, I'm going to pick up where we left off. Central time. Look at Central Standard Time. And I'm going to do it on the 9th, July 9th, from 5 to 7. It's the encore. It is my paying back to you. It's my giving back to you because of everything going crazy. It is on Zoom. I want to do a couple of things. I want to teach about emotions, but I also want to teach about thoughts. I want to connect these back for you so you understand how your thoughts are holding you stuck. This is going to be for anyone who would like to come. Anyone who would like to come. Everybody that signed up, you're going to be getting the invite for this. Everyone who didn't sign up and you're on my email list, you're going to get an invite for this. They're going to be 2 hours. So it's 1 hour of teaching and 1 hour of grief share. It was amazing. The beautiful women that stepped in. It was absolutely amazing. And I'd be honored to have you there. I will be talking about the intensive weekend, just so you know. I will be talking more about the grief intensive weekend. So if you're also interested in the grief intensive weekend, you might want to come here so you can hear about everything that's going on there. All right, my loves. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jovi will be back on Monday. Oh my gosh. And my life will be back on track, I think. Okay. To Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope that this was helpful and you got some information that you can learn, that you can use. I have to say goodbye now, but I want you guys to know, TikTok, hold on, I have some questions to answer in there. I want you guys to know that I see you. I want you to know that I am you. I want you to know that I love you. I want to walk you through this with love, with care, with understanding. I always wanted to know what was the thing, what is the difference I'm going to leave in this earth? Because I all believe that we should leave it in a different place, in a better place than we found it. And Austin gave me this gift. This is my gift to you from Austin, walking you through the grief. No, Mickey, I'm coming. Walking you through the grief is my gift back to you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. I will be back on Tuesday, and I'll probably show up on Monday too. But Tuesday for sure. I'll be back on Tuesday at 10 a.m. All right. Bye, friends. Hey, TikTok, hold on.